Hello and welcome to the video for Monday, April the 27th for 5th grade. This is going to cover our new lesson working with elapsed time. So we have done this before, but what we are going to be focusing on is kind of working with converting units of measurement. So we're going to be working with how many seconds are in a minute, how many minutes are in an hour, hours in a day, days in a week, and so on through this chart. So we'll have some problem solving things to answer along the way, but we're mostly working with converting all of these from one unit of measurement to another. So to start with our unlock the problem, we want to figure out whether or not a battery lasts 4 hours or not. And so it says the laptop ran for 200 minutes before the battery ran out. Did the battery last 4 hours? So 1 hour, as I showed you here, is going to equal 60 minutes. And so I think everyone knows that particular conversion without any problem by this point. And so we are going to convert from minutes to hours and minutes. So to start with, we can do our total number of minutes, which is 200, divided by the number of minutes in 1 hour, which is 60, is going to give us a certain number of hours, and then we're going to have a certain number of minutes left over. So we could go ahead and say that we could do 60, 120, 180 minutes to get to 3 hours, and our remainder would be 20. And so that means we would have 3 hours, 20 minutes. And then for the second step, we are comparing 3 hours and 20 minutes to 4 hours, and that would be less than. And so since, just to kind of finish this up, since 3 hours and 20 minutes is less than 4 hours, the battery does not last as long as the company claims. I think I'm just going to abbreviate and make the contraction doesn't. And so different units of measurements. So we want to find out the total number of days away. And then we are going to add these three things up and then convert them into the number of weeks and days. So it looks like we're working with 41 days. 22 plus 9 gives us 31, plus 10 gives us 41. And that's almost a number that we can count by 7 to get to, but we're going to have a remainder. So that would be 5 with a remainder of 6. And that would convert to being 5 weeks and 6 days. So there was a second page that kind of talked about some different things. I'm skipping over them. One of the things that we can kind of think about is trying to find either the starting time or ending time. And we're going to do that on different problems. Now, for instance, on your own number 5, we are looking for the end time, taking the start time and then the amount of time that passes, or we can work our way backward, which is what we're doing for number 7. But before we do that, let's go ahead and figure out number 1. So we are going to take this number, divide it by 60, and that if we do that, we could use our basic math fact, 54 divided by 6, and that would give us 9. This one, 110 hours. So normally we kind of think of up to maybe like 72 hours as something that we would think of. And then we would go ahead and refer to it as a number of days. So this one we might have to think a little bit. If we do 24 hours in a day times 5, we would end up going past this by 10 hours. We would have 120 for this. So we're going to have 4 hours, and if I did my multiplication, that would give us 96 hours, which means we have 14 hours that we need to account for. So 4 days and 14 hours would equal 110 hours. So number 5, I'm probably going to skip number 9 as far as writing it out, but I will explain it. So number 5, if we start at 11:38 a.m. and we go forward 3 hours, that would take us from 11 to 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. and then 2:38 p.m. plus 10 minutes would give us 2:48 p.m. And before I did that, I forgot to mention if you want to pause the video so that you can do that on your own, I always recommend that you do that. So if you are hearing me talk through a problem and you need the assistance, that's perfectly fine. If you want to try it on your own before you hear it, just go ahead and pause the video and I'll be waiting for you when you are ready. So for this one, we are going to finish what we are doing at 5:30 p.m. So what I'm going to do is count backward 2 hours first and then count backward 15 minutes. So if you need to pause the video to figure that part out, go ahead and do that. And when you're ready, go ahead and hit play. So for 2 hours, I'm going to count backward from 5:30 to 4:30 to 3:30. And then I'm going to count backward 1/4 hour, which is 15 minutes. And that would give me a start time of 3:15 p.m. So for number 9, how you could find the number of seconds in a full 24-hour day. So here we go. There are 24 hours in a day, and then we could multiply that by 60 to find out the number of minutes in a day. Then we could multiply by 60 again. So one other thing that we could do is we could go ahead and cheat this part out and say that we would have 3,600 because 6 times 6 gives us 36, put 2 zeros at the end, and we could do 3,600 times 24. So actually, I will just go ahead and work this out here real quick. So we're going to get 2 zeros. We get 24, carry the 2, give us 14. Then we get 3 zeros for this, 12, and then 7. And so it looks like we would have 86,400 seconds in a day if I did that correctly. 0, 0, 0, 12, 1. Yep, that looks right. Okay, so that would give us 86,400. I don't have my phone available to error check myself because my battery's about dead. So sometimes I might pull up on my phone the calculator just to make sure I don't make any silly mistakes that I then have to apologize for later. So on the we are working with the evens. So for instance, number 10 and number 12, we are going to be working with elapsed time. The rest of these are just going to be conversions. So how many minutes do we have in 8 hours? How many minutes do we have in 15 hours? How many hours do we have in 7 days? Again, you can take the number of hours in 1 day and then multiply it by 7. How many seconds we have, or how many minutes we have in 600 seconds? This is a handy one to know. And one that you can probably do pretty easily because there are 60 seconds in a minute. For number 14, we can go ahead and do subtraction, or you could just kind of count backward if you think of the number line idea here. So here's our number line. We're starting here, and we count back 15 minutes at a time. You could do that until you get back to 4:30 p.m. So just a thought for that one. I'm not going to ask you to do number 16 and then 1 and 2 on the back. Again, we're doing, this one's going to be a longer problem as far as the amount of time that passes because we're starting at 6:45 in the morning and we're finishing at 3:28 p.m. But yeah, all of those things can be done just finding the difference in how long it's been since we've started until we finished. So, and then 2 is the same way. So hopefully that helps give an idea of what we're working on for today. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask in Google Classroom This will be the first, again, of several videos that I'm doing. I didn't do announcements up front, so your guys' schedule stays the same this week, but I am going to preload a bunch of videos because I will be in school working on getting the last set of packets ready to go home so that those can come home a week from today, which would be Monday, as you are watching this. So I'm recording it the day before. But hope you guys have a great day. I will see you in the next video, which will be tomorrow.